Hey guys, quick little announcement here from Fishing the DMV. Our Weekend Warrior Club membership on Patreon is nearly full. There are only 18 spots still available. Once these spots are gone, they're gone, and I'll be closing the club to any new members until 2026. At that point, you can try to join again, but it'll be at a higher rate. So get your rates locked in now, and you'll gain access to our 5 fishing tournaments each year for Patreon members only, 5% off your orders to Jake's Bait and Tackle, 10% off your order to Tiger Crankbaits, 10% off your orders to Catoctin Creek Rods. You'll gain access to our private Facebook group community, loads of members only content, and of course, ad-free, commercial-free episodes of the show. You get all this for $6 a month, which is less than a pack of Cincos or a jackhammer chatterbait. Lock in these rates now because in 2026, I'm going to be increasing the rate to new members. And again, I'll give you an extra one here. I'll give you 8% off if you buy the membership for the year. So that'll be $66 for all of this value. There are only a few spots left, so hurry up and check out the link in the episode description. You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
We back, bitches. How's everybody doing tonight? It is 8 o'clock. Sorry, starting a little late. This other guy had to powder his nose and get back from saving the country, eating dinner, something like that. We have a great guest for you guys tonight as we're in the doldrums of February. I guess it's February 17th. Happy President's Day for what that matters. I am so ready for daylight savings time and warmer weather. Good God. I don't mind it being cold for a little bit, but at some point it's like, it's the mucky nastiness. When it's cold and like snowing, it's one thing, but this is just such a weird time. But we're less than a month away from daylight savings time. Hopefully the start of spring. But you guys aren't here to listen to me talk. What you want to hear is this man, the myth, the legend, the merc with the mouth. He now owns a Charlie factory, so we'll call him Willy Wonka. Jake Harshman, how are you doing now, Willy Wonka?
Dude, that was probably one of the greatest intros I think I may have ever seen in my life. The sniper's dream with that forehead that was spot on.
Take the hate and make it funny. And the problem is some people are actually really funny. So, yeah.
So, I mean, you know, I got to be honest. I got a couple of my friends that have already been messaging me and commenting on Facebook and stuff. And have you ever felt like you're going to your own roast?
Pretty much.
Like you're just on your way to your own roast. That could happen tonight.
I mean, you were in the chat last Monday. I mean, it's sometimes I stutter like Mike Tyson when I'm just reading. It's not good. It can be problems, but you're doing it to the free world. So you know.
Yeah, I mean, the hell with it. You know, you don't get rich by not taking risk. You know.
And you're taking a risk here. Like, have you always wanted to be a guide? I mean, like, secret's out here. This is not his OnlyFans subtitle, guys, The Chocolate Town. This is actually a guide service.
So a couple years ago, I tried to do it out of a kayak. I tried to guide people out of a kayak until I realized that kayak fishing is hard, right?
End of TED Talk.
I mean, let's just be completely honest. Like, it's not easy to do. Right. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not easy to be successful at it. I should say it's easy to do. Anybody can get in a little plastic boat and float down a river and luck into a fish. But to do what we do as a sport, it's not easy to do. Just like it's not easy to do in a bass boat. Right. So the issue that I was running into was trying to teach people both how to navigate a boat on the river, how to position themselves, how to set themselves up for the next cast or how to read this water or how to do this. There's a lot of factors that go into just fishing out of a kayak, especially just fishing out of a kayak on a river, right? There's another element, right? So what I realized is that it was really difficult and I was not having a lot of success. And I immediately realized that I needed to regroup and figure something else out. And to be completely honest with you, guiding was not even on the radar. I had a very fortunate situation for me arise where it's fortunate for me, but very unfortunate for the other person. There was a gentleman who was selling his bass boat. His wife was his fishing buddy. She died of cancer, and he no longer wanted to take the boat out. He sold the boat to me for a hellaciously good deal. And I, you know, the bug was put in my ear and I was like, you know what, let's try to do it, right? Because I don't know how many of the listeners know, but my work life, my professional life, I work in law enforcement, and that is not a young man's game, right? I'm 40 years old. I'm overweight. I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit of a liability at this point. I'm working on that, but I understand that I can't do this job forever, right? So this is a potential retirement job. This is a business that I want to open up, because whenever I'm done working for the man, I don't want to work for anybody else. I did that for the last 30 some years, and I don't want to do it no more. I have zero desire to work for the man no more. I want to work for myself. And when you couple all that together with the fact that I do think that I have some knowledge of how to catch these fish in this river, just a smidge. I think that I can potentially teach somebody, or really just show somebody a good time. And the way that you show somebody a good time, not the way you're thinking, Thomas, the way that you show somebody a good time is you just be honest and you be realistic with them, and you take them out and you just fucking take them fishing, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Fishing. The best thing that you could ever do for somebody is take them fishing.
I agree with that.
That is the facts.
I agree with that. And it's probably easier on your schedule than trying to become like a touring kayak pro, because you probably could do well in that too.
Yeah, so I fished the national trails there for a couple years, and I enjoyed it, but the enjoyment was more so maybe the camaraderie of it, but the camaraderie of it kind of faded whenever people started fishing for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Like, there was no camaraderie anymore. At least it didn't seem that way. I mean, there was little cliquey camaraderies, but not anything to the level that I seen the first couple of years that I did it. Like the year that I won down at Lake Seminole, I didn't even find that spot. Like, I didn't even find the spot that I went sight unseen to the spot that I fished on and won off of. And, honestly, like I was out there and I was just like, man, I had a really bad practice. I had no idea how to catch Florida strain largemouth. I had no idea how to, fish standing timber in 30 feet of water. Lake Seminole's a completely different monster. Little did I know that I just had to take a rattle trap and throw it through grass.
Yeah.
But I didn't know much about what the hell I was doing on that lake. And somebody was like, dude, you're a river fisherman. I'm like, yeah. They're like, go up the Flint River. And I'm like, what's up the Flint River? They're like, well, there's big shoal bass up there. And I'm like, what the hell is a shoal bass? And they're like, it's only the coolest bass ever known to man. And I'm like, well, let's go fucking find one, right? And I ended up going up there and catching 10 largemouth. And I sneaked out the leader, the day one leader, who at the time set a Hobie record with a single day limit of like 100 and some odd inches. And then he didn't have as good of a day on day two, but I had a pretty consistent showing both days in the low 90s, upper 80s, and I snuck out with a win. So,
and I guess the money is not good enough to be like completely professional in it. I mean, it's not. I mean,
it is if so. The money's good enough if I'll give you an example, right? Christine Fisher. Okay, she's probably one of the hardest working people in kayak fishing, right? She has her hand in a bunch of different pots. Christine is hugely successful because she puts in the work, but she has the ability to do it because of her sponsors. She has big time sponsors, right? If you don't have big time sponsors, there's not enough money and payouts of kayak fishing for you to go out and make a living off of.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the big time sponsors. Christine's one. Drew Gregory's another that he makes a living off of.
Jody.
Jody makes a living off of it, but Jody's also a retiree, right?
That's true.
Jody's collecting a retirement, I believe. Don't quote me on that.
Well, he also owns an art museum. The guys, that episode drops next Monday with Jody. But,
listen, Jody has some. that's an eye-opening experience.
Mm-hmm. He's a cool dude.
Boy,
He's just a cool dude.
Super cool dude. Yeah, I mean, super cool dude. 100% West Virginian.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, yeah. Anyway, that's a fun biopic. We talk about fishing 10% of the time in that episode, but yeah, it's interesting to see that. And I mean, it's the same thing with the elites and all that. Like, you can't really make a living at it. And guiding is such a great next best thing to do to kind of stay in the industry. Is 42 old for a cop? Since I have done nothing that would be considered violent in my life.
When you get to the age of 50, you probably shouldn't be doing the job very much anymore. Or you should be in office, yeah. But see, so here's the thing, right? So I'm a smart ass, okay? And I'm also I'm not even going to really go out and say that I'm well liked. I'm probably not liked at all. And that translates from both my personal and professional life. I have no problem telling, my captain or my chief that they're stupid, right? So, I'm not going to get promoted anytime in the near future. I'm going to be a patrol officer for the remainder of my career, and I've accepted that. I've already accepted that. They're not going to promote me because you know who you don't want to promote? Someone who's willing to call you stupid and tell you that you're wrong. Typically, most people like that won't get promoted. And I'm not going to change myself just for somebody's money. I'm not going to do that. So, I'm going to be a patrol officer until I retire. And I don't want to work past 50, 55 years old. I want to do this. I would much rather take people fishing and teach them how to fish the river, or just go on a boat ride with somebody who wants to go fishing and doesn't have the ability to. Like, that's what I would like to do. That's how I would like to make my money.
And then how did Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Town start? When did that brand?
I don't even know. I mean, hell, at this point, I don't even know if I can talk about it. I live in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I am in no way, shape, or form claiming to be part of the Hershey Company. My business is not an amusement park. It's not a chocolate factory. It's not in no way, shape, or form in any way possible am I involved with Hershey, LTD, or INC, or any damn buddy else. I am my own entity, and I am just an aspiring river guide. That's all that I am.
See, we got on Instagram, we have Susquehanna River Guide. Is that a wild rider hat? ?
He's an idiot. Don't listen to Jason. All
right, cool. Jason,
he's just making fun of me because I have these people that help me out and support me in this business, and I like to give them their flowers whenever it's due. And Jason likes to tell me that I'm a patch pirate. So.
All right, guys, I'm going to open up the phone line, 667-307-8583. If you have a question for the Candyman here, come on, call in. I'll give away a free prize to a good question that's asked. We got Alex Loki in the chat here. Dude, just flat out enjoy chocolate. No wrong.
He is not wrong. He is not wrong. As a matter of fact, Alex, I got something for you. I got you a big old Hershey kiss, buddy. Alex, I'll have a Hershey kiss for you whenever you come up to go ice fishing with me.
I mean, that's a great little segue there. How's the river doing? Because this is one of those coldest ever winters, blah, blah, blah.
So Jeff found some open water on the Juniata a couple days ago. He went out and he exercised some demons because I don't think he's been on the river in like maybe, I don't even know, like a year. It's been a long time since Jeff has been on the river. So he went and exercised a few demons there, and he said he had a great time. It looked miserable to me. I'll be honest with you. I am not a big wintertime fisherman, and not because the fishing is slow. It's because I'm a bitch. I don't like the cold. I'm not a fan of the cold, and there's no amount of wind rider gear that's going to make me feel any better about being out in the cold. But shout out to Wind Rider. They make some fantastic wintertime and cold weather clothing. There you go, Jason. Mickey is 100% correct. I will listen. if you want me to take you winter fishing, I will absolutely take you winter fishing. And I will just sit up there on the trolling motor with a little buddy heater pointed at me. That's what I will do. So if somebody wants to go winter fishing as soon as the ice gets off the river, let's go.
How bad is it up there when it comes to ice?
I mean, it's ice. It's basically iced over. The last time I was down there was during the Great American Outdoor Show. And, it was, it wasn't solid.
Yeah.
But it was
chunks.
Basically ice chunks from shore to shore. It's there's a lot of ice on the river. I mean, there's some places, I guess, down south that have open water. I don't know. I haven't been down there. I know the sections that I'm used to and that I know mostly are all iced up. Look, we could go 2 weeks from now and get a week of 50, 60 degree temperatures, and March 1st, we could be throwing spinner baits. So who knows? It's Pennsylvania. It's mid-Atlantic weather is what it is. We could be summer in April. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what's crazy. And it's interesting to see like what's going to happen this year. Cause I remember this time last year, we had a really warm winter and it felt like the pre-spawn, the spawn was kind of weird. It was vague. It wasn't hard. Like this is a pre-spawn bite. This is a spawn bite. And I'm also talking like down towards Smith and stuff. But now that we had this cold as shit winter, do you think this is going to really flip a switch when it starts warming up?
I think a couple degree bump right now would flip a switch for these fish. I know Mickey's been out and caught them a couple times. I know a couple other guys that have gotten out and caught them, but dude, I really think like 3 or 4 degrees could really send these fish into an absolute frenzy. But right now we're soaking ice chunks down the river. So
what do you think it's going to do to the grass?
No, it'll be back. Yeah, they won't affect the grass.
That's good.
Yeah, no. That shit, listen, I promise you the Susquehanna River will have that. I'm going to make Jeff very proud of me right now. The Susquehanna River will have that wild celery for the life of its existence unless they come through and just chop it all up and spray it, which I highly doubt that they will. Because why would they spray the river for grass whenever they can't even get the E. coli out of it?
Who knows with that, man? I mean, that's, yeah. I mean, who freaking knows? We did have a question. And then, guys, you know what? I'm going to do this right now just to spice it up. I'll put the number in chat, and then let's go to some good questions here. Where are they? Let me go pull up. Oh, here we go. Brandon says, do fish stack up at all in the dammed up sections of the river? So I'm assuming there's some dams on the Susquehanna.
I mean, there are. So, you get, the most familiar that I'm with here is in the Harrisburg area at the Lowhead Dam. There's some deeper areas there in Harrisburg that they'll stack up in some of the big eddies and stuff like that, the typical wintering holes. I don't really know what the Conowingo fish is like. I don't really know what down around York Haven, on the upper side of York Haven. I don't really know what it fishes like because I don't really go down there and try to experience it very much. But maybe they do. It's not like I don't want to make it seem like the Susquehanna River is not like the Tennessee River, right? Not all of our dams are like hydroelectric dams. There's a couple on the river, but most, a lot of our dams are just really like big current breaks.
But how much depth is behind? Because I know like on the Shenandoah, after you get to the North and South Fork at Riverton, there's a dam that puts about, I think 20 feet of water is the deepest part of that. So fish will migrate down that way.
So, there's absolutely going to be fish on the downriver side of every dam, up my way, the Lowhead dams, but getting to them is going to be incredibly difficult with the ice right now. So
true. But I guess when the ice breaks, because again, like right now, except if you're like 3 people and most of them are in the chat right now, people are not going to be braving this kind of weather. But I really feel like it's not going to take long for this ice to leave. I really think in the next 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to see this big shift, and we're going to be full pre-spot. I just have this gut feeling, like you said earlier, it's going to become fire. It's not going to be the slow transition to a good bite. It's going to be a light switch, and things are going to be
it's going to be a light switch. I think it's going to be a light switch as soon as they get a couple degrees, and then once it gets into the mid 40s, low 50s, like look out, like it's going to be gangbusters after after that, like. There's going to be a couple days though where it's like, okay, we'll get a nice little jump and we'll be catching them good for about a week, and then next thing you know, they're going to go completely dormant because the weather dropped and the temperature dropped 10 degrees overnight. So you'll have those ups and downs, those ebbs and flows, but it's. I think as soon as the weather breaks and starts getting better, the river is going to be incredible.
I agree with that. Guys, I'm going to open up the phone lines here, 667-307-8583. Come on in, give it a call. I saw one guy dropped on the phone call there. You can call back in now that I opened up the phone lines. That way my service doesn't get killed. I realize, guys, the issue with it is like if I have 38 callers lined up and I'm not ready for it, it will kill my internet. So you can call back in. Best question wins a prize. And then we have Mickey P here. I can guarantee you catch 90 inches Monday, but you will have to leave the comfort of your chocolate town. We got Cousin for Adventure. You mentioned spinnerbaits in March. I was shown to slow drag swim baits, and that has worked very well early March and April. What is your preference?
Early March and April, I'm probably going to be throwing a lot of Ned rigs. If the water temperature's low, I'm going to be throwing a lot of Ned rigs and a lot of tubes. Contrary to popular belief, I actually know what those are. And they are somewhat effective. But if you get them in a day where they want to chase, I really like I like blades. I like flash. On at least on sunny days, I like some blades and flash. Maybe on overcast days, I'll throw out a swim bait, but I don't drag a whole lot of moving stuff in this river. The stuff that I'm dragging is going to be some lightweight.
Yeah. When your friend is Jeff, who hurts you to where, this is funny here, what no Ned rig. It's like, why is it dragging is just so against you, almost on a religious level?
I think so. It speaks to my non-conformance, my non-conforming nature. Everyone's like, oh man, like you throw out that jig and you just pull it over that log there and they'll eat it. No, I'm going to throw this chatterbait in there and I'm going to drag it over that same log and I'm going to make them eat that. Well, they're not eating moving baits right now. Watch. And then I'll spend all day long throwing moving baits until I get one dumb one to eat it. And I'm like, look. So I think it's more or less just stubbornness. I'll do it if I have to, right? Like I'll do it. Like I've done it in tournaments where I've had to catch fish. Like I've actually drop shotted before.
No,
that's stupid. I don't know who would ever do that. That's probably the dumbest. So I'll give you a story. We had a tournament. Have you ever heard of Savage River Reservoir out in Western Maryland?
Yes. Beautiful
place. One of the coolest places I've ever fished in my life. Small little reservoir, super deep gorge style reservoir. Had a lot of fun, has a lot of fish in it. Really good time. I drop shotted the whole day. I drop shotted because it was a 1-day tournament and I caught fish all day long and I won that tournament. And it was probably the stupidest day of fishing I've ever had in my entire life. Because I just sat there and drop shot at a single tree in like 30 feet of water and caught fish on damn near every cast. At the very end of the day, I was bored and I was tired of catching 12 and 14-inch fish. And I left and I went way up into an arm of the lake that had water coming in from the mountain. And I chucked a 110 whopper plopper way up into this creek and just started pulling it down. I didn't think I was going to catch anything, and I landed my lunker of the day. It was a big largemouth there. And that's how I won that tournament.
Yeah, that's the one that's cool thing. And caller, I see you guys in the queue right now. I'm going to get to your call right now, but there's so many reservoirs you can fish. Like the like example is MVKBA, like they do the Battle of Five Lakes in Fredericksburg, but I didn't realize like some of those lakes have 40 pounds on them. I was like, holy shit, because you can't put a bass boat in there, sort of thing. So it's neat. Like you get these little sneaky holes, and Pennsylvania probably has a ton of them like that too, that are perfect for kayaks.
You know where it has a lot of really cool places like that it gets overlooked so much is Delaware. Those Delaware mill ponds, dude. Like I feel like every little 10-acre pond in Delaware has like a giant largemouth that lives in it. You just got to get through the tannic water and the disgusting crap that's on the edges of the water over there. Yeah,
you do, and that's the I think the issue with that kind of place. And again, it like comes down to like the size of the body of water. I know that's something with Mid-Atlantic that's an issue too, about like where can you put a tournament that would work for the number of kayaks that you actually draw in.
We figured that out. We figured out where to go. We got a pretty good schedule of things that keep coming every year. The Potomac, Upper Bay, and Susquehanna are always going to be there, but we got a pretty good rotation of bodies of water to get enough space for people to spread out. So, and NVKBA does as well. Like they do a solid job of spreading it out and keeping it different. Keeping it appealing.
And honestly, because you guys don't overlap very much, if everyone had insane payouts because Johnny Moore sponsored it, you basically would have a tournament trail right there where you wouldn't have to leave the area and you'd be set. I don't know. I get very like jaded to like the national tours because I feel like there's just no way you can make money at it with gas and stuff, especially bass boats. I don't know how the hell you can do that without Diddy or some kind of sponsor or something in your back pocket paying.
You said Diddy?
Yeah, Diddy. Yeah, the baby lotion company, Johnson & Johnson, sponsored me.
I'm gonna send an application in for Johnson & Johnson to see if they'll sponsor my Chocolate Town River Guide service.
There's a tagline, but I'm not going to use that because I will get demonetized. Tubes. We got tubes right here. Love tubes. Yeah. Except this guy here. I do fish tubes, but I'm a Shenandoah River guy. I feel like that area of the country, for some reason, the dragging works better than the Susquehanna. Susquehanna is just all power fishing.
So it's not all power fishing. It just looks like it's all power fishing whenever you watch my YouTube channel. There is a vast majority of the year where you have to finesse these fish. I shouldn't say vast. There's a good portion of the year that you have to finesse these fish. And that's the winter time. That's, there's days in the fall and dude, to be completely honest with you, there's days in the summertime too, that if you want to catch the right fish, you're going to have to finesse them. You can't just go out there and balls to the wall all day and always catch the biggest fish on top water. Like it's just not always going to happen. But like we are known for our power fishing and our fish are a little bit unique, but I will say when it comes to tubes, I like to throw a stupid tube. I like to throw the Mark Zona stupid tube. That's kind of the way that I like to throw my tubes. I like to rig them weedless and so they don't get hung up and all that. That's kind of how I do mine.
You can catch hood smallmouth on the tube and the Susquehanna. And then you guys have any tips on getting better hookups this time of year? I've lost some big smallies this last week from the hook popping out. 21-inch I caught last week was barely hooked. Got lucky.
Yeah, I have a tip. Put scent of some sort on your baits. If you're getting bit, you're doing the right things. But a lot of times in the winter, I think that they're putting that bait in their mouth and they're mouthing it, and then they're probably spitting it back out before you realize they had it in their mouth. But if you put some scent or some sort of something on there to make it feel and taste real to them, they'll keep it in their mouth a little bit longer and let you jack on them.
And I also think this sounds weird. Go heavier in your tackle. Because a lot of times it's like when in doubt, set the hook, but you're afraid to do that on a 6-pound or 4-pound test if you're one of these masochists. Go a little bit heavier, 10, 12, something like that, to where like, okay, it's a leaf. We'll just set the shit out of it. And because again, their mouths are harder.
Right.
So, I mean, and again, I say a little go up in weight in your line. I know some guys, again, Jeff Miller, a local in this area, he uses 4-pound test. And it's like, motherfucker, dude, I don't think I could ever go that low.
So I think you can go that low if you do everything the right way.
Yeah.
If you're using a light action rod and you're using 5-pound braid to a 4-pound fluorocarbon leader to a very light wire Ned rig hook, you can fish 4-pound all day and be okay. But the minute that you put a big beefy hook on 4-pound, or you use that 4-pound on like a medium spinning rod and you try to set the hook, you're gonna you got to have everything has to match. Gear is super important when you get down low into those low poundage levels like that.
But I also think there's a psychological issue there to where when you have thread on and you start feeling something, there's a part in your brain that's like, I don't know if I want to set the hook, because if I set the hook on a rock, I'm breaking off and I have to retie and it's cold and my wife hates me and I'm in a divorce and all this other crap. So you're like, I'm just gonna like let it go. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, that was a fish. Versus if you have a little bit heavier, you could be like, I don't care. And you can just start whaling.
But to answer his question though, scent, 100% scent. Before we get way off into some rabbit hole, it's scent. And I know Jeff Little swears by Liquid Mayhem. I know a couple other guys really love that gel shit that doesn't smell like anything. It's the clear, what is it, bait fuel, I think.
Yeah.
I will tell you that I am a big believer in smelly jelly. Smelly jelly is absolutely the tits when it comes to scent or something like that. Are those handcuffs? Are you playing with handcuffs?
Pretty much, yeah.
Weird.
But anyway, to your point.
Yeah, but no, I think scent is how you get them to keep it in their mouth a little bit longer.
I completely agree with that. I think scent definitely helps, and making sure your hooks are dialed in correctly. Like, I mean, what kind of hooks were you using? Because it always goes straight back to that. We got garlic jelly and all this other jelly. We got Blue Flash, medium action rod with 10-pound braid, 8-pound leader. In the winter is perfect setup. I also use BFS. I really like that. I'll use a medium light bait caster, straight fluorocarbon, 10, 12-pound test. Like, I mean, I don't know.
That's Mr. Mike Shawley. Him and the other one you saw earlier, Susquehanna Smallmouth Solutions. Jason Shea. They're also guides here on the river. They're much more experienced and probably way better guides than I'll be within the next 5 to 10 years. But they also got a little bit of a head start on me. I think both of them been doing this for a little over a decade or more.
How much crossover is there on the river? I mean, is there like 38 guides?
There's a good many guides, man, but a lot of guides are doing it, part-time. There's a few full-time guys, and there's a lot of guys that are doing it part-time. And, the nice thing is that this river's system is huge. You can really spread out. You're always going to find during the springtime, you're always going to find groups of people that are packed into likely places. I'm going to do my best to try not to be one of those people. I'm going to do my best to try to branch out and get away from the crowds, because I don't particularly like fishing around a whole bunch of people. I think part of the experience of fishing this river is the solitude you get of just being out there by yourself and in this giant river and hardly ever seeing anybody. I think that there's something to be said for that type of experience. And I would like to try to convey that over to any potential clients that I have. So I'll do my best to try to stay away from the crowds if at all possible. But when you're talking about overstepping over, if you think there's maybe too many guides, I don't think that there is. I think this river is incredibly resilient and incredibly productive, and I think you can put 50 guides on this river every single day. As long as they're all spread out and not in the same place, they're all going to have success.
All right, we got a couple of great questions here. We're going to bring them in. We got a sassy question here, a spicy one. Susquehanna River Guide on Instagram. I can't share your question because Instagram and StreamYard sucks. Who is Jake's least favorite guide?
So that's Joe, right? Is that Joe?
It's probably Joe. Yeah.
Yeah. So, oddly enough, Joe is not my least favorite guide on the river. Joe and I may have had our differences and we may not see eye to eye on a few things, but Absolutely, he's not my least favorite guide on the river. My least favorite guide on the river is hands down Ken Penrod.
Is Ken still guiding? Holy crap.
I hope not. I hope he never sees the water again.
Dude, I have some stories that we could talk about there with that. He is a character. All right, guys. I'm trying to get all the good questions here before I get back on topic here. What do you think your biggest struggle you will face when guiding? Blue Flash 717. You want a gift card to Tiger Crankbaits? Message me, fishingthedmv@gmail.com, Instagram, Facebook. Just get a hold of me, and I'll make sure you get your gift card.
So the biggest struggle that I foresee is probably trying to learn how to convey the knowledge that I already know to somebody who knows nothing. Right? If you get an experienced angler in your boat that knows how to cast, somebody who knows how to catch fish, and maybe they don't live here and they want to come here and just experience it, that I don't think is not going to be the client I think that I would have a lot of stress with. But say for instance, you get someone on your boat that has never thrown a fishing lure before. I 100% believe that'll be the biggest struggle, trying to get those people to catch fish. And honestly, success in that instance, success has to be kind of graded on a curve, right? If you get somebody out there who's an experienced fisherman and, you take them out, yeah, you probably want to try to put that person on 30, 40, 50, 60 fish in a day. But if you get someone out there that's never been fishing before, 5 fish or a fish might be success for them. And the way that you celebrate that success, I feel like, is going to be how you get return clients or how you get your name out there as being a good guide or not. Because if someone catches an 18-inch fish and that fish is the only fish they caught all day because they don't fish and they don't know how, but they were really excited about that fish and they were really proud about that fish, if you don't celebrate that fish accordingly, you've lost that client. And if you've lost that client, you're probably not going to gain anyone else from that client. So I think that that's probably the largest struggle that I'll have in guiding, is just with those newer clients and in that.
We got Lonnie here. Lonnie's also a guide down the Shenandoah River. Guys, go check him out down there. But what are your jerkbait choices and colors for the spring?
So I don't throw a lot of jerkbaits. I don't. But I will say that the jerkbaits that I do throw are a lot of clear belly, like clear body. I like a little chartreuse in the top of the back. But outside of that, I really try not to get too crazy with my jerkbaits because I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of throwing jerkbaits. Just way too many treble hooks for me. So I don't have a wide range of colors that I throw with jerkbaits. I will also, I'll also probably not throw them very much unless the water's clear. Like, I feel like if there's dirtier water, I feel like there's probably going to be a better way to catch them than a jerkbait.
And I'm going to add to that, because I do throw a shit ton of jerkbaits. There's no one color. The color is the biggest draw with those things. So you need a bunch of different colors to be successful with that. Chromes, hot colors are good for smallmouth, but I would go chrome. The pearl white is more of a largemouth color in my thought there. Chartreuse, hot chartreuse works really good certain times of year. Also anything with an orange belly, at least the Shenandoah kind of crowd, I think. But have a shit ton of colors and just keep rotating them until you get them to actually connect. Let's see. We got so many questions coming through here. Can I launch from City Island and run upstream to West Fairview boat launch with a low favorite with an outboard? I usually launch from Fairview to be safe.
Is it an outboard jet or is it an outboard prop?
I'm assuming he said outboard, so prop?
If it's an outboard jet, I would say that you probably wouldn't have very much issue, depending on the water levels. If it's an outboard prop, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it because you got to get through some pretty low sections to get from City Island to West Fairview. Like, it's not a lot, but you do have to get through some low sections to get there. And I don't think a prop would be the right choice for that unless the water was just really, really high.
Let's see. We got. I guess Susquehanna River Guide again. I'm gonna leave that question for later. We got another one here. Jake, what is your favorite scent?
My favorite scent?
Yeah, your favorite scent.
Mahogany teak wood from Bath and Body Works.
There you go. And I'm also selling some Jake's juice if you'd like some.
Juice.
Yeah, he gave this to me, but I'm not going to use it. But apparently it works really good, and it comes in a glitter color.
Is that the one that I put the sparkles in?
Yes.
Bass Feast is my favorite smelly jelly flavor, I guess. Scent flavor. Bass Feast is the tits.
Susquehanna River Guide. Jake, have you ever been to the bar across from Montgomery Ferry?
I have. It's not a bar.
There you go. Susquehanna River Guide. You just won some of Jake's juice. Send me a good address, and I will send that one bottle to you because I'm not opening it. Thomas, that's what you wear from Bed Bath and Body Works. Probably. I put in whatever.
Was that Carly?
Yeah, that was Carly.
It smells really good, doesn't it, Carly?
It smells really good. Yeah, it smells like Christmas. Open up the phone. Dude, the phone lines are open. The phone lines are open right now. The number is 667-307-8583. If you want to call in. Oh, you did call in. Never mind. Here you are. Oh, righty here. All right, 254-669. You are on the show.
What's up, guys? I just wanted to say hi to Jake and his magical chocolate guide service.
Hey, how are you doing? Who is this? Who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
Some people call me Daddy. Others just call me Josh.
Nice. Oh, nice to talk to you, Josh.
Do you prefer going by Josh or Daddy?
I just wanted to pop in. It depends on who's saying it. But anyways, I just wanted to call and give y'all some love. I'm in Hawaii right now, so I'll holler at you when I get back.
Hawaii, bro. Are you gonna tan on them big ass toes of yours?
I am.
Well, make sure you send me some feet pics.
Every big ass body part. Of course. All right, love y'all later.
Bye.
Hey, buddy.
I have nothing for that one.
Again, this is where I bring in the Hershey Kiss. I got a Hershey Kiss for Josh whenever he comes up too.
His guide service is 18 and older, by the way, for everyone that is asking. Let's see. I pull up that question there.
It's not that kind of business.
Spinnerbait, chatterbait, or swim jig? If you had to pick one.
Chatterbait.
Why?
God, can I retract that statement?
Yeah, go for it.
I can only pick one.
Pick one.
I can only pick one.
Pick one for the month of March.
Month of March, spinnerbait.
Ooh, okay.
But it's going to be a big Colorado bladed one.
Yeah, I would go swim jig from like late April through May for personally, but then
are you fishing for largemouth or are you fishing for smallmouth? What are you doing?
Smallies. At least in the part of the river I fish, they just get beat to hell with chatterbaits.
All right.
But again, I have more confidence in a swim jig than I do a chatterbait, even though I have had my ass routinely beaten by you, Chun, with that stupid fucking little chatterbait.
So if I had to go through, let's just go through the spring, right? We'll start in March. I'm throwing a double Colorado bladed spinnerbait or an Indiana blade, Colorado blade combination of some sort. I think that thump. I think you're typically going to get dirtier water during the month of March as things start to melt and the runoff starts to increase the water levels. So you're going to have dirtier water. You're going to have higher water, and honestly, that spinnerbait is going to be able to be worked a lot slower through the water column, which they may still be looking for. It's not going to probably be my bait of choice for that time of the year, though. My bait of choice would be a crankbait. So when it comes time for April, I'm chatterbaiting that shit. Probably April all the way into May until they've just gotten tired of it or gotten sore lipped by it too many times. And then after that, I'm looking at, when can I get them to start eating top water? May, June, July, August, September, into September. I'm trying to get them to eat top water for majority of that. I will I will dabble a bit in the springtime with the big baits, the big glide baits. I've had a good bit of success on in the springtime, but that's not something that it's not something that I bank on. You know, like I'll have one tied on, and if they're eating good, then I'll throw it out there and try to catch them on it. The fall time is really whenever I kick up a lot with the big swim bait game, whether it's big swim baits or whether it's big, 7-inch flukes, whatever I can, I'm throwing is I like big thick baits during the fall.
Lonnie and Jeff, I see your questions there. We'll get to them again. The number is 667-307-8583. I'm going to take 2 more callers tonight, and then we'll be done with the phone lines. Lonnie, we'll go with Lonnie first before we go with this Jeff guy. What weight spinnerbait or chatterbait you fish on the Susky?
Almost always half ounce. If it's super, super low water, I'll throw a 3/8. But I think half ounce is probably the most versatile size that you can throw on this river, because you can work it fast, you can work it slow, you can do anything you want with it. If I could only buy one size, it would be half ounce.
There you guys go. I kind of agree with that too. There's the little stuff. Interesting. That's an interesting name. I don't know. How far up the tributaries will you guide, Jake?
As far as it takes to get away from people.
Okay, he likes people, by the way. That's why he's taking them out. Brandon, are the rumors true that the Chocolate Town guide boat will be clothing optional only on Sundays?
For Brandon, absolutely, clothing is optional.
How do you fish a jerkbait in the river? I cannot get bit on a hard jerkbait. I hear they are great for smallies. I like to take my jerkbaits and chuck them up in the fucking tree.
And I feel that they're the most effective up there.
We will get a pure jerkbait angler on also to talk about this. I would say the biggest thing with them, you don't want to be moving them too fast this time of year. Just them. When you throw a jerkbait in a river system, it's almost like you're fly fishing, about how you set up your cast in a stream and you let it actually work its way down.
Fly fishing is not cool.
Okay, well, that's for you, yes, but it's an analogy for the great audience down below.
No, I joke. I shouldn't say that. I joke so much. That's actually how that is legitimately how I got into fishing.
Well, there's no way in hell you flied fish. I don't see you having some Cabernet
because let me explain it to you why. Right, as a kid, I used to go on my grandpa's boat. We would go to Deep Creek, Maryland, and we would go to Youghiogheny River Lake, the reservoir, right? Those are the 2 places that we would always go fishing. There, and then another place was called Virgin Run Lake and out in western Pennsylvania. Those are basically the 3 places that we would go fishing on my pap's boat. And they were always fishing for walleye. They're bottom bouncing, they're doing stuff, they're throwing it out, casting and waiting, right? They're doing a lot of that. I always wanted to be like, hey, can we troll? Can I throw out a worm rig? Can I throw up, a dipsy diver? Like all this shit. Like, can I do this shit? And they're like, no, just sit down, shut up. I was your typical annoying ass kid, right? So my pap was like, you know what? Would it shut you up if you just fucking casted the fly rod? And I'm like, yes, it would. Because in my pap's mind, me casting the fly rod was not going to mess up their walleye fishing. Right now, granted, him and my uncle both got a couple flies in their ears during the time we were doing this on the boat, but they dealt with it. And that was exactly what got me into fishing. Whenever I caught my first fish on a fly rod that was a giant bluegill on a little maggot looking fly, and I was fucking hooked. Aww. I was hooked. The gateway drug to fishing, the bluegill, on a fly rod was probably the coolest experience that you could ever give to somebody who's never caught a fish before, because the way they bend, that big bend in the fly rod, like the fight, like dude, pound for pound, bluegill might be one of the best fighting fish out there. Like, I
believe that. Yeah. If they got bigger, man, good Lord.
If a bluegill got the size of a smallmouth, we would have to get different kinds of tackle. Like, you'd be using like 50-pound braid for all your smallmouth fishing up here.
We got a Patreon supporter here. Lance is down in the Shenandoah, Virginia area. Do you fish up there because it's closer, or is it better than the James and the Shenandoah? Wow.
I think that's for you.
Yeah, no, well, so the Susquehanna is better than the Shenandoah and the James. Pound for pound, bar for bar. The only river that we have that could potentially, like, on the high end of the spectrum, maybe is the New. Besides that, like, yeah, pound for pound, all the way down your limit, it's the Susky. Susky's 100% the best.
Let's hold on. We're not going to even put the New River
oh my God,
and the Susquehanna River even in the same damn class.
I mean, yeah, one's an A+, and the other one's like, what, a B+, an A? You think?
Oh my God!
You really don't think that the New is there at all?
I think the New is great for trophy fish.
That's what I just said.
Right? Like, okay, you can go to the New and you can catch a 24-inch smallmouth, and it's a beautiful 4-pound fish. Ask Joe Raymond how big his 24-inch smallmouth was that he caught up here this year.
Jeff, if you're still in the chat, would you give the New River a B? Like, where would you give it grade wise? We're assuming the Susky is like 100% A+. Where would you give it?
Outside of, I'm telling you right now, outside of the St. Lawrence River or the Great Lakes and maybe like Mille Lacs, I don't believe there is a better smallmouth fishery in the United States of America than the Susquehanna River.
What about the Niagara River?
I don't give a shit about the Niagara River. Stupid ass river.
I'm not going to say anything to that. So, yeah, there we go there. I mean, I concede that the Susky is definitely like all the way through.
Dude, every time I've been to the New River, like, I get it. There's big fish down there, right? I understand that there's big fish down there. And I haven't experienced a lot of the New River, right? But I can tell you that I could throw a dart on the map on the Susquehanna and go catch probably a limit of 18-inch fish, okay?
I agree with that.
You're not going to be able to shoot a map. Like, you could shoot a map of the New River with a fucking shotgun and probably not find a place where you're going to go catch a bag of 18-inch.
I think if the Hobie series went there a different time of year, there's potential that it could have done better than it did. I don't disagree. I think it's got the most fish in that size. I do think this guy called Jeff Little, I think you know him. You watched him on an apple chip all day floating down a river. There's a lot of big fish in the New.
Jeff and I will not always agree. As a matter of fact, believe it or not, Jeff and I are probably very, very close friends. Dare I even say best friends, right? However, more often than not, when Jeff and I go fishing, we fucking butt heads all day.
That makes sense.
If Jeff wants to do one thing and I want to do the other, and rarely do they ever just kind of like align and we're both going the same direction. It just doesn't happen that way. That's not how we do it.
If I was able to do that Smallmouth River kayak tournament trail, would the New be allowed to be on the schedule?
I think it has to be.
Okay. So you don't completely shit on it.
Listen, I will give the New River its flowers. The New River is great, but it's not the Susquehanna, dude. No, it's not the Susquehanna. Like,
I don't disagree with you.
And gosh, it's just not the Susquehanna. Like, I would even put the Juniata over the New.
I mean, I guess, would you call the Juniata its own river or a feeder?
Yes. No, it's its own ecosystem.
Okay.
I mean, it gets a lot of transient fish from the Susquehanna River during the spawn time frame, but the Juniata River is its own ecosystem. It has its own. There's resident fish that live there. But I would say that the Juniata is better than the New. So I would say the Juniata is better than the New all months out of the year.
Oh, your boyfriend just said, I'll just share it. All right. That's why it works, Jake. We challenge each other and learn from each other. Our love. I mean, here's a challenge. Learn to fish a jerkbait. I agree with that.
I don't need to.
There you go. He doesn't want to do it. Maybe if you take something like propofol or a sleep aid, maybe then you could throw a jerkbait potentially.
I'm good.
Just a thought there. All of the people
I'm
on
good.
Instagram, my Shenandoah guys know the Shenandoah is its own thing. I agree with you. The Shenandoah has a cult following. The James River has a cult
So
following.
I'll tell you right
but
now,
it's
like,
not the Susky.
I think the Shenandoah is a very cool river.
Cool, yes. Big ones, no. I'll say that. I live on the damn thing. It's
maybe not big ones, but I've really enjoyed the couple times that I fished the Shenandoah. I've really enjoyed it. I've also really liked the Rappahannock too. The Rappahannock's
a good one.
Cool river.
Well, and you got the upper Potomac, which is 5 seconds from my house that you're doing this year. They got some big ones now. It's weird how good that thing is doing.
I've seen that place. You know, it's impressive. Like what's going on down there.
Have you been out with Trey yet on the upper at all? So this will be your first time.
So,
Mid-Atlantic is going to the upper Potomac, right?
Yes.
So will that be your first time?
It won't be my first time on the river. It'll be I've not been on the river very often. Not very many times.
I'll take you out then. We got Trey.
I will dead stick whenever I'm dead. I will dead stick whenever I'm dead.
No, but that's gonna be a good one. I think you're gonna be pleasantly surprised by the weights that come out of the lengths that come out of the upper Potomac.
We understood what you meant. We understood what you meant. You're just a weird boat guy.
I'm a weird boat guy first. I do, and it's so funny. Everyone wants you to be one or the other, but now that you're a blend, it's weird because like I like both because both are paid off, so I don't have to.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, and you know, the jet boat guys can get pissed off at me. Boat fishing is nowhere even remotely close to as fun as kayak fishing. When you hook up with a 20+ inch smallmouth and you're fighting with that son of a bitch right beside you, there's a different level of excitement when it's from this far away versus you netting it or leaning over the side of a boat to catch it. Like it's a lot more intense and a lot more fun and honestly a lot more rewarding to catch them out of a kayak. The only difference is like with a boat, you have range, right? You have range to go as far as you want to go or as far as you can, go within the confines of your equipment.
Yeah. And then there's the other factor there, which is like my wife won't go kayaking, but she'll fish a Thursday nighter with me out of my boat. So
that's exactly why I will go kayak fishing though, because she won't.
But I was teeing you up though, but you've a kid and a wife, and maybe there's a situation where like that's a good thing about having the boat.
So I will. Yeah, I'll jump on board with that. Jacob, my son, is in no way, shape, or form does he enjoy kayak fishing. I took him kayak fishing in a little local lake up here that is it's a big fish producer. Like I've caught an 8-pounder out of there. I know of a couple 9s that have been caught out of there, and I know of a 10 that's been caught out of there. So I take Jacob there one April, and it was a rather warm day. It was warm, but it was windy. It was like, low 60s and, probably about 20 miles. We get out on the lake, and I think the water temperature was probably somewhere in the 50s, mid to high 50s. And I give him the crash course. I'm like, all right, man. I'm like, keep your head inside the boat. Don't lean over. If you catch a fish and you can't get it up, just yell for me. I'll pedal over to you. We'll get it out, blah, blah, blah. I give him the whole crash course. I set him up with 2 fishing rods. I said, here's a spinner bait. Here's a chatter bait. If one's not working, throw the other. If, just alternate them, switch them up. So he's over there, and he's just in the water for like 10 minutes, max. 10 minutes we've been on the water. He's in my dry suit. I put him in my dry suit, and I was not wearing a dry suit. But I put him in my dry suit because I didn't want him to fall in and die, because then I would have a whole lot of explaining to do. And I was like, all right. So he's in my dry suit. We're on the water 10 minutes. I'm looking at where I'm casting. I cast, and I hear splash. Dad! And he's freaking out. So, like, I turn and I start going over to him, and I see he's just like, the PFD is doing its job, right? His head's above the water. He's just splashing his arms, getting his face all wet and shit. And I'm like, stop splashing. He's like, okay. So then he's just kind of sitting there, right? Hold on a second. right. So I get over to him, and as I'm getting over, I take a video, which was kind of funny too, because like I post this video, and people were like, "Dude, you took a video of your kid drowning?" And I'm like, "He wasn't drowning." I'm like, "Calm down. I'm not a bad dad. I'm not a good dad, but I'm not a bad one either, you know." So like, whatever. So I get over, and I'm like, "All right." I'm like, "Relax." I'm like, "Climb up on the front of my boat. I'm gonna pedal you over to the shore." And he's like, "What about the boat? It's upside down." I'm like, "I don't give a shit about the boat. Whatever. I'll figure it out." So I take him over to the shore. And I tell him, I was like, all right, I want you to walk around the lake because it wasn't a big lake. I'm like, walk around the lake. Don't stop walking. Take my keys. Don't stop walking. I need you to get like your core temperature up and everything. I need you to stay moving. Don't stop. Right. So just keep going. So he's like, okay. So he walks over, and then as you know, I'm working on getting the boat to the shore and flipped over, and I see the truck turn on, and I'm like, all right, cool. He's safely in the truck. I get the boat flipped over. I'm towing the bitch back to the other side of the lake, right? It's full of fucking water, okay? So it's not easy. Like the son of a bitch wants to sink, but I'm just kind of like pedaling that shit over there. And I get over to the shoreline. I drag it up onto the shore, and I go to the truck, and I open the door, and here sits my fucking, I think he was like 12 or 13 at the time, maybe. Yeah, probably 12 or 13. He's just sitting in there in his skivvies on my phone. Like he's in his underwear in the parking lot at the lake playing on his phone. And I'm like, bro, are you good? And he's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, so like, what you doing? And he's like, I'm watching YouTube right now. I'm like, okay, well, I was like, did you want to go back out? And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, well, we drove like an hour and a half to get here. I'm like, do you mind if I go catch a couple fish? He's like, nah, man, you're cool. I'm like, maybe put on some clothes in case like the game warden or somebody comes by. Cause like this, I mean, you know what? Just do whatever you're doing. So I went out and I fished for like an hour before I came back, and we loaded up the boats and went home. But that was the last time I ever was able to get him kayak fishing. But flip that around. I bought the boat, and I asked him, I'm like, you want to go fishing? And he's like, yeah, what time you want to wake up? And I'm like, fuck, yes. Yes, like that, yes. Like that's I need that, right? Because he and I don't see eye to eye on a whole lot of anything. Me and my kid are completely different beings, right? It's not that we like, you know, we love each other, right? But we will 100%, we will butt heads. He is nothing like me. Like we don't operate on the same wavelength. And, you know, and I love that about him. I respect it. You know, he's his own person, and he doesn't conform to me just because I'm his dad. So I'm cool with that. Like I'm good with the nonconformity. Drives me nuts sometimes, but I deal with it. But when he would have the opportunity to go out on my buddy's boat, like my buddy Jeff Riddle, who's also a guide on the river, he's a part-time guide. You know, he would offer to take us out every once in a while because we're friends, right? And we would go out with him. And every time Jacob got to go on the boat with Jeff, he was up first. He's like downstairs. He's like fucking got his shoes on and shit. Like I'm just kind of rolling out of bed, and I'm like, oh, what is this? Somebody down there? And he's like, yeah, I'm waiting for you. And I'm like, okay, bro. Like, so I noticed it. Like he much preferred to go out of the boat, but I didn't have one. And then once I bought one, it changed. And then it was like, hey man, do you want to go fishing for a couple hours this afternoon? Yes. Hey man, do you want to wake up tomorrow morning at 4:00 in the morning and go fishing? The answer is yes. I'm like, if I don't make a single dollar off of guiding out of this boat, the purchase of this boat was worth it for that reason alone.
I think that's a great thing there. Because yeah, the Paris thing is weird. Again, I like both. Both have their perks, and if it gets people out in the outdoors, that's all that really matters. Is you get your loved ones out there in the outdoors. Here's a great little shout out to for real, thanks to Jake and Jeff for making great videos, and thanks for the podcast. I learned a lot from the great information. Absolutely, I'm glad that we have Jake and Jeff here to be able to give us so much insight.
I appreciate that, gentleman, as well.
Got Thomas. The only jerkbait that I've been excited about in years. Got my hands on some, but they don't drop until this summer. Ooh, ominous information there, boss. Thank you so much. Let's see. Rude. I don't know what I insulted you with, but I'm pretty sure you'll tell me when I come upstairs. Derek Smith says, helicopter. Lord knows what I said that caused that to happen. Got some stuff over here on Instagram that says, let's see. Now, definitely, I think the Upper James is way better than the Shenandoah and the New River. River rats are like the Cowboys versus the Redskins. Everyone's got their river and they'll die on it. So God love
Commanders.
No,
Come on, man.
No, screw
Come on.
that. Screw that PC
Come
crap.
on.
They're the Redskins, baby.
Oh, see, now you're
They
getting
always-
fucking canceled. Now you're getting canceled.
Yeah, you're an Eagles fan too, so you must be really great. You beat the Swifties.
Excuse you? You take that bullshit. I'm done. I will fucking sign off right now. Where's the leave? Where's the leave studio?
Well, there's
button?
no way you can be a Steelers fan with how shit they've been lately. Oh, wow. He looks hurt. Damn, he looks hurt. Wow. Damn. At least-
Thomas, I love you and you're my buddy. I will leave. I will absolutely just bounce. I will be done. Let's not talk about football. Let's go somewhere else.
All right.
It's like, no, you want to talk about politics? Let's talk about politics instead.
We got the Redskins, baby. Yeah, no, we'll pivot that. That'll be a different show that I'll be doing. If people want to go out with you, how do they find you? How does all that? Just do the spiel.
All right. So my business is called Chocolate Town River Guide, and I have a couple different social media sites, Instagram and everything, all that jazz. But the website is chocolatetownriverguide.com. And from there, you can have all my contact information, how to get a hold of me and do all that stuff. The trips I'm booking right now, trips for March, April, and May. I haven't decided yet whether or not I'm going to guide into the summertime or whether or not I'm going to reserve that time for me and my kid whenever he's out of school. But for March, April, and May, and then again in the fall, I'll be operating and booking trips for those times. So if you want to book them, go to the website, get in touch with me, and we'll do that.
What area of the Susquehanna do you offer? Is it basically from the Upper Bay to Julietta?
Well, it's June-iata. It's June.
You got me the first time I did that too. Wow.
So I don't know enough about the river below, Marietta to really say that I'm going to guide down there. So I wouldn't go down that far. But all the way up to Sunbury and any points in between, the June-iata, I mean, gosh, all the way up to probably even past Lewistown Narrows, I'm pretty familiar with. So the June-iata, I'm pretty familiar with most of it. And I'm more than likely going to spend a lot of time in that region. But the upper Susquehanna will probably be where I spend more time than anything else. I
didn't know that Jeff had this kind of side to him. I like this. Will you guide for flathead?
Yes, I will. In every flathead that we catch, we will donate to a homeless shelter for food, like to a food bank. So anybody that catches a flathead on my boat, we will be putting it in a live well and we will be donating it to somebody who needs it. Because that is the best thing that you can do for humanity, is to take flatheads and give them to homeless people or starving people.
There you have it. And then I saw Myers say, is Jake's kayak show coming up? Thomas, Jake going again this year. I am not organizing that this year because I have gone to a show every weekend for the past 5 weeks. So I'm just showing up.
If I could just clarify that, in no way, shape, or form is Jake's Bait and Tackle associated with this Jake. Jake's Bait and Tackle is 100% a separate entity from me. And from what I understand, they will be having their fantastic kayak show this year. However, I don't think I'll be there. I work that weekend.
Yeah, I think it's March 8th at 10 a.m. is when they're doing it, if I'm not mistaken. They announced it.
Sure about that?
No. I should.
I think it's the first.
I'm pretty sure they moved it.
First and second. Did they move it?
Yeah, they moved it because of reasons. Hold on. This is important. Yeah, guys, I'll be also putting a promotion out, which means I can actually read the clip of it says when it is, but 5 seconds. Yeah, it is the 8th, it looks like. Cool. So it is, they moved it to the 8th.
Tell Jenny to reach back out to me.
Tell Jenny to reach. Jenny, if you're listening to this, I don't think you're listening to this. I will message you, Jenny, to let you know, because now I'm going through like the 6 trillion freaking texts that I have to double check this, because now you got me freaking tripping, which is not good. Actually, Carly, you're listening. Yeah. Thank you. March 8th, 11 to 3.
They did in fact change it because it was originally scheduled for the 1st.
There you go. See, we are all surprised here, which is not good. Yeah. I'm going to get in trouble. Anyway.
Well, I'm glad that Carly knows what the hell is going on, because without her,
pretty much,
you and I would both really be lost.
I would be really lost and in trouble for not promoting that. Yeah. Well, Travis, why did you ask a question if you knew the answer? You sound like my wife. My God. Okay, thank you.
He didn't ask when it was.
Oh, he didn't?
He asked if you were going to be there.
Thomas, Jake going. Oh, yeah. Well, shit. You see, this is the issue from last week, guys. So why can't you shows alone? I can't read. I'm really bad at that. We've got a last question here from Jake. What is the biggest smallmouth that you caught on the river? And that's from Demon06254.
On the Juniata, I have a 21 3/4 inch fish that was 5 pounds 10 ounces, and then I have a 5 pound 14 ounce fish that I caught at last year. That tops my biggest in weight out of the Susquehanna.
Hoffman 04 on Instagram says, Thomas, if you did do the river smallmouth, the tournament, where would it go?
Oh, I can pick those right now.
So I'm actually thinking about this being a thing. If I ever had money, it would be 6 to 8 stops. You go with yours first. I already know where I'm going.
I mean, I'm going Juniata River early April before the shutoff. I'm going to go mid to late April, probably on the James.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably going to come up to the Rappahannock, maybe. Actually, no, I've skipped the Rappahannock. I would go to the upper Potomac early May. I would pick back up on... we would have to find one for June. Maybe go back to the Rappahannock in June.
Or the Shenandoah, depending.
Or the Shenandoah in June. But July, I would absolutely hit the Susquehanna again, July, and maybe even have a culmination of the series in like August as well, also on the Susquehanna, because you would obviously pick the best river out of them all.
Yeah, you have the championship on the Susky, and then you probably do the new earlier, or you rotate, because we didn't even talk about the Roanoke River or North Holston in Southern Virginia. That's a little smaller though.
Yeah. There's a lot of rivers in this area that you could go to. Like, I obviously picked a lot of the ones that I'm more familiar with and that I'm closer to. And again, I would never ever put the new river on a schedule because.
But to your point there, like the Rappahannock is a little bit smaller, but like the James is freaking massive. The Shenandoah is massive, and honestly, from the break at Great Falls all the way up to Paw Paw, the Upper Potomac's pretty big too. So that could handle a tournament like those.
Why don't you sanction this? This is what I want you to sanction.
Oh Jesus!
I want a 5-boat versus 5-boat tournament from the New River and the Susquehanna River, and you pick the 5 boats for each water. So you pick 5 people that you know on the New, and you pick 5 people that you know on the Susquehanna. If I was going to tell you who to pick on the Susquehanna, it would be in order. I would say Jason Shea, Chris Gorsuch, or Joe Raymond. Any of those 3 could be in or out as number 1. I would probably pick probably Mike Shawley and Tom Mills as the other 5 for the Susquehanna.
So this is how, in my brain, because of money, I would do the tournament trail every 2 years like the Olympics. It's only 50 anglers. You have to pay up front. but it's 100%. You pick the schedule, Jake, but we will know who the best river smallmouth angler is. Nut up and shut up, and you'll have a whole year you can hold that title, kind of like the Olympics. That would be cool as shit to do, because I would love to see some of these big dogs come out here and actually AOY best smallmouth angler, period. That would be cool. Right? But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. This poor man probably has to go get up early tomorrow and save lives, so go check him out.
You want to stay longer?
I mean, yeah, that's not something you want to ask me. I can talk forever. Do you fish while guiding? Thoughts? Oh yeah, you have to. How else are you going to make it work?
I don't necessarily think you have to. Right. I think if you got capable clients on your boat and you have a good pattern that you've already put together, I don't think you have to fish. I think if your clients are struggling and you don't have a pattern put together, I think you better fish, because if you don't figure out where and how to catch them, then you're not going to have a successful trip.
Yeah, there you go. And then honestly, at some point, guys, the point of a guide is to get out there on a place you've never been before, but get a boat and get out there yourself. I mean, that's what I'm going to say. Like, unless you're like coming in from town and you're just exploring it for the first time, yeah, get out there yourself, learn the water at some point. But guys, thank you so much for listening here. February 17th. We had over 80 people watching today on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. That was freaking insane. People love the Chocolate Man. People love the Candy Man. We're going to keep that name as the name of his. And then we
Chocolate Man.
Yeah, we have somebody else that just entered, like, what is the name of the guide service? It is literally in the title. It's Chocolate Town River Guide. Link in the episode description. Please go check him out. Oh, this is important. March 1st is when he can legally guide, I think. So
I can legally guide right now.
Oh,
I have my license.
Gotcha.
I have my insurance and all that stuff set up. I'm not opening until March 1st. And I labeled March 1st because, so here's the thing, right? So part of this guide service, the thing that made this guide service possible is people that support me, right? I have been fortunate enough in kayak fishing to make some very solid, incredible relationships with different partners in the fishing community that have really made this guide service something that's even feasible for me to do. With that being said, I was waiting on product to arrive, and all of my product has arrived. I'm a partner. I'm an ambassador for Temple Fork Outfitters, who makes both amazing fly rods and amazing conventional bass rods, and some really cool inshore saltwater rods. Bates Fishing Company, who makes some pretty solid reels, casting reels. Lakewood Outdoors, their tackle solutions and other outdoor storage solutions. Windrider Apparel, Impulse Lithium, Finn's Braid. Newly acquired to the team of people that are helping me out is Florida Fishing Products. I'm using their spinning rods. They are a saltwater based generated company there, but their reels are still the same size as your regular freshwater spinning reels would be. One thing that makes me appeal to that, or that appeal of that makes me a little bit more for me, is everybody knows like the Shimano not the Nasi, it's the $200 one, the Stratic, the Silver Stratic, right? The Silver Stratic was like bulletproof, right? So their Florida Fishing Product reels are going to be similar to like your Shimano Stratic. That silver, their high-end reel is going to be very similar to that. So that was always one of my favorite Stratics that was made, and I enjoy it. So that company is going to be helping me out this year. And of course, Tactical Fishing Company is huge for me. They supply me with a lot of soft plastics. So having all those companies in kind of like a stable of people to help me out in this and getting this business off the ground was huge. And that's why the March 1st date was, I wanted to make sure I had everything in place before I started booking trips. I didn't want to book trips and then be like, oh, hey, can you bring your own fishing rod? We're not doing that. So when you get on my boat, you're not going to need to bring anything but yourself and maybe some food and water and a fishing license. That's it.
There you have it, guys. Go check him out. Jake, I mean, thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming on tonight. Mid-Atlantic Kayak guys, go check them out as too. Their season's going to be coming up here. It's going to be a really good season. And I think this is the best way to end it was with Smallmouth Advisory. Thank you so much, boss, for the love. I really appreciate it. Yeah, yes. That is the quote for his channel right there. Guys,
I am using that as a goddamn business slogan.
That's his business slogan from now on. Go check him out, Jake Harshman and the Chocolate Town River Guide Service. Guys, go check us out on Patreon. We have 5 fishing tournaments a year. I can guarantee the payout because it's sponsored by me and my 401k. That's basically paying for the whole thing. We only have 18 spots left before I shut that bitch down for the rest of the year. Go check that out. Go check out Chocolate Town, and we'll see you guys next time on Fishing the DMV. Bye. You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.